House Committee on Ways and Means will come to order. Ms. Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Representative Robideau?
Here.
Representative Barra? Here. Representative Barrow? Here. Representative Bishop? Representative Broadwater? Here. Representative Burford? Here. Representative Danahay? Here. Representative Guillory? Here. Representative Hazel? Here. Representative Hoffman? Here. Representative Johnson? Representative Lambert?
Here.
Here. Representative Ritchie? Here. Representative Stokes? Here. Representative Tebow? Here. Representative Thompson? Representative Whitney? Here. Representative Williams? Here. Representative Wilmot? Here. 16 members present, and we have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Members, if we could, I'm going to take just a moment to read a statement before we get started. Over the last several months, we've grappled with the issues involved when considering the repeal of income tax, either immediately or over a period of time. I personally want to thank the governor for opening up debate on the issue. It's my hope that the work that we've done over the past few months can serve as a foundation for an ongoing debate about how to best reform our tax structure. But since the governor's address to the legislature last week, I've spoken with numerous members of the House, including our legislative leaders. I've talked at length with Speaker Cleckley about our shared concerns and how to best resolve this matter. I've also reviewed the analysis that's been provided to us by the policy community, PAR, Cable, Lobby. As a result of my discussions and the review of the analysis, it's my preference that we indefinitely defer consideration of these repeal bills. It's a difficult, but I believe a necessary action. That being said, I respect the legislative process, and since I've scheduled the bills for a hearing, if any member wants their bill heard, I will honor that request. With that, we'll go ahead and get started with Representative Green. I think I had promised him to have his bill heard first. If he's here, there you go. And also, for the public, there is an overflow room across the hall in Committee Room 4. Hunter, whenever you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members. It's good to be back in the Ways and Means Committee. I know you have a lot of things on your plate, and I just want to tell you, I think everybody knows what the bill does. The bill repeals...
I'm sorry, Hunter, I didn't say what bill number. No. If you could tell us, is this the 271?
This is 271.
Okay.
The bill, House Bill 271, eliminates the personal income tax over a 10-year period starting January 2014. I've had this bill a couple different times. In 2009, I went back and looked at the fiscal note last night as I was watching some of the Masters. Then we had House Bill 634, which was a 10-year phase-out in 2011. And then we had a bill on the floor, which was Senator Marino's 2 years ago, which some of you were here in 2011 and had a chance to vote on that bill. What this bill does is it starts the process and it starts the discussion. And I do want to thank the governor for taking on, this is something that is a monumental change to go from a significant portion of our revenue in the general fund being the income tax to having no income tax. And the governor certainly was ambitious about it and doing it in 1 year. And I think that there was enough concern from the members of the body that the governor saw that it was a better idea to maybe sit back and get suggestions from the leadership and from members of the legislature. My bill would basically start the process. And there have been certain members that have come back and said, well, we don't have a plan. Well, the plan would start with a repeal of the personal income tax. Now, what goes after that? We have unlimited authority to change, except as prohibited by the Constitution. So we have the ability to vote for cigarette taxes or look at exemptions and repeal those or do a number of different things. And I think that the bill that we had 2 years ago was something that would have started the process, obviously, 2 years ago. This bill would start it next year. We have a lot of concerns and a lot of different things we look at, but this is the process. This would be the process, and this would be how we start it would be. It gives us a path over 10 years where we can look at actual collections and get actual data back to say, what do we want to replace the income with, and how do we want to replace that income? I felt like the plan that was proposed was a good plan, but there were some questions that we had, and there were members that weren't interested in raising taxes that didn't want to have to vote on a bill that would possibly raise taxes in the long run, similar to the Stelly plan several years ago. And there were several members that they felt like they got stung by that vote. I don't know how many of them are even here. I don't think anybody was here when Stelly was passed. I don't think that I was here when Stelly was passed. I know that that was a big issue when I ran in 2005, and then we went through a process several years to repeal portions of that. And again, that was a several-year process. And there were members that don't want to have less revenue in the budget, and they were concerned that this was going to cut off one of the sources of revenue. So I get that. So this bill would set us on a path to say you have 10 years, and it forces us every year to look at it and say, how do we replace that income? Now, I don't think there's any better evidence than what your actual collections are. And I have a lot of respect for Greg Albrecht and his office and what they do, but it's still just a projection when you look at the fiscal notes. So we don't know exactly how the economy is going to be over the next 10 years, and we have unlimited options on how we address that in the future. So if from there, let me just say that this is not necessarily, I don't own the plan. I don't think the governor owns the plan. This isn't about whether or not you think the governor made the right decision, or whether or not you're mad at the governor, or whether or not you always vote with the governor, or whether or not you're mad at me, or whether or not you vote with me, or whether or not it's this guy's plan or that girl's plan, anything. It's about what we want to do as a body. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, but I would, as Mr. Chairman, as you said, I would move to voluntarily defer this bill. But with that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Representative Lambert, you had a question?
I wasn't sure if he was going to voluntarily
I beat you to the punch.
Defer it.
So you still have a question?
Well, I just have one.
All right.
I'm looking at, and you were talking about Mr. Albright's, and I guess you're talking about the fiscal note.
Yes, sir.
After 5 years, that fiscal note says this would cost us $4,102 million.
Oh, that's the 5-year total.
5 years, yeah.
The 5-year total. That's the cumulative total.
So in 5 years, we would be out $4 billion plus dollars.
Well, it would be over
5 years from now. What I'm talking about.
No, that's a 5-year total.
Okay.
Representative Lambert. That's the cumulative of all those those 5 columns.
All right. Okay. That's all I have.
All righty. I will read the cards we have. We have cards in opposition from Renee Singleton, Together Louisiana, Baton Rouge, Pamela, and I apologize if I can't read the handwriting. Is it Bolano? Belan, Together Louisiana, in opposition. Edgar Cage, Together Louisiana, in opposition. Lois Grant, Together Louisiana, opposition. Diane Hanley, Together Louisiana, opposed. Susan Email, Together Louisiana, opposed. Betsy Irvine, Together Louisiana, opposed. Pamela Metier, Together Louisiana, opposed. Helen Tarver, Together Baton Rouge, Louisiana, opposed. Pat LaDuff, Together Baton Rouge, opposed. Victoria Robinson, Together Baton Rouge, opposed. Harmonies Lang, Together Baton Rouge, opposed. Lee Wesley, Together Baton Rouge, opposed. Robert Thompson, Together Baton Rouge, opposed. Colleen Eames, Together Baton Rouge, opposed. Mary Michael, Together Baton Rouge, opposed. Eloise Stanley, Together Baton Rouge, opposed. Elizabeth Whitley, Together Baton Rouge, opposed. Tanya Nyman, self, opposed. Ed Parker, AFS CME, opposed. And I do know that and George Armstrong, Together Baton Rouge, opposed. Some of the members had the box marked wanting to speak, but with the author choosing to voluntarily defer the bill, since we're not going to be hearing debate on the bill, we will not have public testimony. Representative Barrow, you had a question or comment?
I just wanted to have a point of order, I guess, or I want to recognize members from the audience, but at the appropriate time, Mr. Chair.
All right. Hunter, did you have a...
Mr. Chairman, I have two more things, and I wanted to, and I read this over the weekend, and now I see a copy of it here. Two things. One is I saw the response from PAR. I have a lot of respect for the people at PAR, but I think when I read that the loose talk of moving forward with repealing the income tax and things like that, it says that approach lacks courage and real leadership. To me, I take offense to that. It takes courage to push an idea like the governor did. It takes courage to actually file the bill and talk about it and debate it. And the leadership comes from this committee and from the members of the body, not from one person. That's not where it comes from. It comes from listening to people and what their concerns are and what their ideas are and trying to cobble together a solution. And that's what leadership and courage is. So if somebody wants to say I don't have courage because I'm proposing a bill, let them come tell me that to my face instead of writing this little response here. Now, I'm going to ask you members to look at this little book. I think everybody was given this Tax Foundation Facts and Figures. Flip through it and look at it and see where we stand on all our different tax sources, and you'll find it very interesting that we have a lot of options. It does take a little bit of reading, but look at it and see where we stand on a lot of different taxes. With that, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the committee's time, and I'll be talking to members of the committee and hope that there might be a solution we can get to this session. Thank you.
All right, and I think we're going to take up your other bill. And just,
those are deferred. Yeah, the tax ones.
Yeah.
Corporate and
right, but I want you to state that on the mic.
Sure.
So hang on 1 second. Ms. Barrow, did you want to make your statement on this bill or after?
After.
All righty. All right. All right. House Bill 271. Representative Green has asked that we voluntarily defer that bill. Representative Green, you had another bill which was House Bill 640 that deals with the phase out of the corporate income tax over a 10-year period.
Right.
Did you state that you wanted to voluntarily defer that one
House
also?
Bill 640 would be voluntarily deferred as well.
Okay. All right. I'll read in the cards on 640. There was also a card. Thank you, Representative Green. There was also a card turned in on 271. Raina Wilford put together Louisiana in opposition. On House Bill 640, these are all in opposition. Ed Parker with the AFS CME, Pamela Metier, Together Louisiana, Sandra Brown, Louisiana Together, Colleen Eames, Together Baton Rouge, Robert Thompson, Together Louisiana, Pamela Bean, Together Louisiana, Ray Stanley Jr., Together Louisiana, Susan Email, Together Louisiana, Helen Tolliver, Together Baton Rouge, Pat McAllister LaDuff, Together Baton Rouge, and Rowena Williford on 640 also, Together Louisiana. So those are all cards in opposition. Again, the author has agreed to voluntarily defer that bill also, so there will be no need for public testimony.
Okay.
Thank you, Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members.
All right. Members, Representative Banno had asked that we voluntarily defer House Bill 235, if you want to mark that on your agenda. Representative Katrina Jackson asked that her bills be voluntarily deferred until tomorrow's agenda. And I'll talk to her. I'll talk to her more today about what went on today to see what will happen tomorrow. Representative Ritchie, you have asked that we voluntarily defer your bills till next week, was it? All of them? And then let's see what that leaves us with. Oh, Representative Seabaugh had called in asking that we voluntarily defer his bills, which are House Bill 505 and House Bill 634. Representative Gisclair asked that we schedule House Bill 193 for tomorrow, so he's voluntarily deferring it for today. And I think that leaves us with Representative Talbot and Representative Ivy. And I haven't seen Representative Talbot. Do you want to go to the table, and do you mind going to the table and stating it just rather than me saying it? All right, Representative Talbot, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll take them in order, okay? House Bill 178 repeals corporation income and franchise taxes.
I'll defer.
All right. House Bill 304.
Can you spare reading all the opposition cards?
I wish I could, but I am going to have to read them. House Bill 304.
That one's from my father, but that's
House Bill 304. House Bill 304 is the tobacco tax bill. What did you want to do with that one?
I'd like to defer till next week if I
Okay.
could on that one.
All right, House Bill 304 to next week. All voluntarily deferred. Yep.
Right, voluntarily defer.
Defer.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Voluntarily defer.
House Bill 333 is the repeals the corporate franchise and provisions determining taxable capital.
Voluntarily defer.
House Bill 586, which changes the rates and brackets of the tax to a flat tax.
Voluntarily defer.
House Bill 610, which is relative to the services subject to the state sales and use tax.
Voluntarily defer.
And provides for a 6-year phase out of the House Bill 669, 6-year phase out of the state tax on individuals.
Voluntarily defer.
All right. And if you'd like to leave the room, I'm going to read those cards in.
I do have a Commerce Committee at 10, so
All right. Thank
I'm
you.
going to hit it.
Representative Tebow, you had a question for Representative Talbot?
No, I just wanted to congratulate him on having that vision to do what you just did. I mean, it took a lot.
It did. It did. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Representative Barrow?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Carter?
Representative Talbot, I need to ask you one question.
Yes, ma'am.
Since you voluntarily deferring the bill, I just want to make sure that we're not going to see it again this session.
Well, I probably not.
Probably not. That's
Probably
not something
not.
we're going to have to revisit again?
Right.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Right.
I'd have to
Thank you.
schedule it.
He'd have
Thank
to
you.
schedule it, please.
Thank you.
That's it.
Okay. I'm going to read the cards in, members. These are in opposition to House Bill 178, Renee Singleton, Together Louisiana, Charles Jenkins, Together Louisiana, Ray Stanley, Together Baton Rouge, Victoria Robinson, Together Baton Rouge, Pamela Behan, Together Louisiana, Helen Tolliver, Together Baton Rouge, Pat McAllister LaDuff, Together Baton Rouge, Pamela Metier, Together Louisiana, Lois Gant, Together Louisiana, Hermanese Lang, Together Baton Rouge, Colleen Eames, Together Baton Rouge, Sandra Brown, Together Baton Rouge, Randy Nichols, Together Baton Rouge, Diane Hanley, Together Louisiana, Tanya Nyman, Self, Robert Thompson, Together Baton Rouge, Ed Parker, AFSCME, Mary Michael, Together Louisiana, Susan Email, Together Louisiana, Betsy Irvine, Together Louisiana, Edgar Cage, Together Louisiana, Eloise Stanley, Together Baton Rouge, Elizabeth Whitley, Together Baton Rouge, Cynthia Tracy, Together Louisiana, Rowena Wilford, Together Louisiana, and those were all cards in opposition to 178. 304, there were, on the tobacco tax, there was a card in opposition, Jessica Elliott, Louisiana Retailers Association, and there was 2 cards in support, Jennifer Maruzak with the State Medical Society and Greg Waddell with the Louisiana State Medical Society on 304. On 333, we had in opposition Ed Parker with the AFS-CME and Ed turned in 2 cards. He disliked that one so much. Let's see. Then we have 586, which Cynthia Tracy, Together Louisiana, in opposition. Edgar Cage, Together Louisiana, opposition. Ray Stanley, Together Baton Rouge, opposition. Pamela Metier, Together Louisiana, opposition. Robert Thompson, Together Louisiana, in opposition. Tanya Nyman, self, in opposition. Lois Gant, Together Louisiana, in opposition. And Hermanese Lang, Together Baton Rouge, in opposition. 610, David Laverne, Blue Cross Blue Shield, in opposition. Jimmy Berlin, Louisiana Staffing Coalition, in opposition. Renee Amar, National Federation of Independent Business, in opposition. Lana Griffith, Louisiana Self-Storage Association, in opposition. Allison Walling, Self-Storage, Louisiana Self-Storage Association, in opposition. Wanda Cox, Louisiana Self-Storage Association, in opposition. And then the last bill is 669. We have Renee Singleton, Together Baton Rouge, opposition. Victoria Robinson, Together Baton Rouge, opposition. Mary Michael, Together Louisiana, opposition. Betsy Irvine, Together Louisiana, opposition. Helen Tolliver, Together Baton Rouge, opposition. Ray Stanley, Together Baton Rouge, opposition. Robert Thompson, Together Baton Rouge, opposition. Randy Nichols, in opposition. Cynthia Tracy, Together Louisiana, opposition. Eloise Stanley, Together Baton Rouge, opposition. Elizabeth Whitley, Together Baton Rouge, opposition. All right, that leaves us with Representative Ivey. You have House Bill 507 is the first one on the agenda. You have a right to make whatever statement or opening that you'd like.
All right. Well, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. This is my actual first time I get to not present a bill. So this is my 5th day at the Capitol. So I was recently elected and very anxious to help support positive change for our state. And I'm a little disappointed today that there won't be any bills through this committee today to actually have the discussion on tax reform. I'm recently off on an election, so I've got to meet and talk to a lot of constituents, a lot who weren't in favor of a tax swap. They were highly in favor of a tax phase-out, though, and that's why I authored a couple alternative bills to what the governor was discussing during the campaign. So, like I said, I am slightly disappointed that there is no discussion. You know, I like to entertain all options personally. Also, I've heard quite a few objections, a lot of opposition here today, but I'd also like to point out that there's a lot of people for tax reform. They just happen to be working and paying taxes right now. So they couldn't be here today. So anyway, I do ask to voluntarily defer until later, but
All righty. Representative Tebow, you had a question?
I think we ought to go ahead and take it up.
let's do it.
Let's go.
Representative Barrow.
Representative Ivey, welcome to Ways and Means Committee.
Thank you.
And welcome to the House of Representatives. Certainly, we can understand your disappointment, but let me tell you, the longer you stay in this process, you have a lot of disappointments. But there's always another day to fight. So,
Absolutely.
again,
That's why I
welcome
asked
to the
voluntary
House.
defer.
All right. Well, thank you. We're glad you're here.
All right, the gentleman has asked that we voluntarily defer House Bill 507. Representative Ivey, the next bill on the agenda is House Bill 632, which is the 5-year phase-out. Did you want to voluntarily defer that one also?
All of them.
All right, and then the last one is House Bill 637 on the corporate side. All right, you asked that we voluntarily defer that one also.
Correct.
All right, members of the court, I have some cards I need to read in. On 507, we had Pat LaDuff, Together Baton Rouge. In opposition, Ed Parker, AFS-CME. In opposition, Cynthia Tracy, Together Louisiana. In opposition, Mary Michael, Together Louisiana. In opposition, Betsy Irvine, Together Louisiana. In opposition. The next bill was 632, which had cards in support from Jennifer Marusak with the Louisiana State Medical Society and Greg Waddell with the Louisiana State Medical Society also. Also from Laura O'Halloran, Louisiana Power Coalition, in support of 632 and 637, and Nick Boutery, Alderman, Town of Iota, in support of 632 and 637. In opposition to 637 was Mary Michael with Together Louisiana and Ed Parker with the AFS-CME. All right, members, I think that clears our agenda for today. Representative Barrow, you had wanted to make a question or a comment or acknowledge some folks in the audience, I think?
Yes. Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to recognize the group Together Baton Rouge and Together Louisiana. I would like to ask if they would please stand. They are coming from all across our state. And I know the group here in Baton Rouge has been extremely effective in helping us with a lot of local issues that we've had come before us. And so I just wanted to welcome them to the Ways and Means Committee and thank them for being here today. And like to ask you guys to join me and welcome them to the Ways and Means Committee today. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. And thank you all for coming and participating in the process. It's doesn't always turn out exactly the way that anybody has in mind, and I know some of you guys were prepared to speak on the bills, but since we're not having any hearings on the bill, it's not appropriate to start allowing the public to talk on bills that aren't being heard. Representative Broadwater, you have a motion?
Make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, we are adjourned.